Hello learners, I welcome you all to the 53rd lecture for the course on International Investment Law and the Environment, and we are also in the 11th week of the course. So in the 10th week and in the 11th week we are actually discussing about reconciling environmental issues and concerns within the field of international investment law. We discussed various ways in which that could be done. So in the 53rd lecture, we are going to talk about transparency in investment arbitration in order to facilitate integration of environmental issues within the field of international investment law. So how can transparency achieve this? As you all know, arbitration is a very closed process and it happens within four walls, and you do not have access to much of the information with regard to arbitral proceeding as an outsider, as a third party. I mean, the parties to the arbitration will have access to information, access to documents, and would know what is happening in the arbitration, but as an outsider, we would not generally know about the arbitral process. It's a completely closed process. But in case of an investment arbitration, when an environmental regulatory measure is challenged, then we cannot consider this to be purely a commercial matter which can happen in a closed area within the four walls without any information to the general public. And this is general public should have a say, or at least should know about what is happening, because they are a very important stakeholder. Any decision that comes here would generally have an effect on the general public as well, especially in investment arbitration, since host state is one of the party. So there again, general public as a stakeholder is there. I mean, it's as it is there. But when especially an environmental measure is challenged, then you could say that the significance of adopting or embracing transparency sort of heightens. And also, if we look at the ISDS regime, only the investor gets access, or only the investor can file a claim against the host state. So that also there's some sort of an asymmetry when it comes to who can file the claim. And when an investor is allowed to file a claim against host state challenging an environmental regulatory measure, then transparency should be given due weightage. And where does this come from? If we look at Principle 10 of Rio Declaration, so here it's a UN declaration wherein it clearly stated that transparency should be given due importance, especially in matters of environmental issues. So here we could clearly see that Principle 10 of the Rio Declaration states that environmental issues are best handled with the participation of all concerned citizens at the relevant level. Here it is also stated that the individuals or the citizens should get appropriate access to information concerning the environment which is within the possession of public authorities, including information of any hazardous materials as well as activities in their communities. Also, Principle 10 states that opportunity to participate in decision making process should also be given to the individuals. Anyway, this particular point is something that we will discuss in lecture 54, but for the purpose of this lecture, we could know that the transparency is also given importance under Principle 10 by talking about access to information concerning the environment. Here, if we look at Principle 10, it also talks about effective access to judicial and administrative proceeding, including redress and remedy, shall be provided to the parties, right? So what here to the individuals. So Principle 10 of Rio Declaration is also stresses on the importance of access to information for concerned individuals who are concerned with how the outcome of the arbitral tribunal that is talking about or that is reviewing an environmental regulatory measure. So we could say that the emphasis on transparency in the investment arbitration, which involves an environmental regulatory measure, could be strengthened by looking at Principle 10 of Rio Declaration as well. Other than that, we could see that sometimes these investment arbitrations sort of decides on the question of if access should be given to outsiders. Take for example PACRIM case. In PACRIM case, both the disputing parties did not want to allow outsiders to attend the hearing. So, PACRIM tribunal explicitly stated when the parties themselves do not want outsiders to attend the hearing, so and therefore they made it a closed one. So, that's how the arbitral tribunal decided. In that context, we would see whenever an environmental regulatory measure is challenged, there is a presumption at least a host state would want the matter to be made public because it had taken a legitimate environmental measure and that had to be defended in an investment arbitration. Maybe it would allow access to outsiders in investment arbitration, right? This is generally is the presumption. But if we look at Metalclad case, if you remember, we'd already discussed the case in detail. An ecological decree was passed after Metalclad had sent the notice of dispute. So, Mexico was arguing before the tribunal the ecological decree should not be heard in the investment arbitration, and even then in this case Mexico again was citing confidentiality reasons and do not want the proceeding to be made public, right? So that is little surprising. The action of Mexico, at least in this case, is does not is not consistent with our general presumption that the host state may want the transparency in arbitral proceeding, where the tribunal is reviewing an environmental regulatory measure, right? So this is probably one sort of an anomaly, we could say. And in ST Myers case is also very interesting. In ST Myers versus Canada, ST Myers invoked the confidentiality provisions and it argued that the provision should be made confidential, arbitral proceeding. So in this context, we can see interestingly what the tribunal did. The tribunal drew distinction between confidentiality under arbitration agreement and confidentiality in an investment arbitration pursuant to a treaty. So that is also very interesting to note, because we do see that the tribunal stated that in case of a private consensual arbitrations that is purely done between commercial parties, then the general principle of confidentiality exists in that particular arbitration, but the arbitration before that tribunal was taking place because of a provision in an international treaty and not because of an arbitration agreement that was signed between the disputing parties. So here the ST Myers tribunal, we could say, drew a distinction between confidentiality in arbitration and an arbitration proceeding that was filed pursuant to an arbitration agreement. What we could see in case of ST Myers is that ST Myers, in fact, it drew distinction between confidentiality obligations in arbitration that happens pursuant to arbitration agreement versus arbitration, but didn't go to the extent of saying that transparency should be given due weightage. At least to this extent, we should appreciate the tribunal and its decision for at least drawing the distinction between transparency in arbitration pursuant to an agreement and arbitration pursuant to a treaty. So this is how that has to be done. So in fact, UNCITRAL arbitration rules also provide for a provision on confidentiality under Article 25.4. So here also what UNCITRAL rules say is that unless and parties want, the arbitral proceedings will be an in-camera proceedings. So again, we have to look at the fact that UNCITRAL arbitration rule was primarily drafted as a instrument to provide for arbitration rules for international commercial arbitration. It was not specifically drafted for settling investor-state arbitration. So in that context, we could see that by the very nature that there are some investment disputes where an environmental regulatory measure is challenged, the tribunal and the disputing parties in the tribunal should embrace the concept of transparency in investment arbitration. And this is evident even in the context of UNCITRAL arbitration. UNCITRAL had adopted rules on transparency in treaty-based investor-state arbitration in 2014, which is effective from 2014. So that itself shows that the nature of investment, the arbitration in investment arbitration is little different than, it's different from commercial arbitration, and therefore transparency should be given due weightage, and that is essentially the case when an environmental regulatory measure is challenged. So one is transparency. The other aspect of this, that is how could this be complemented, the transparency be complemented for strengthening the environmental concerns in international investment regime, that is through participation of non-parties in the investment arbitration as well. I am talking about the participation of amicus curiae submissions. So amicus curiae, if the proceedings are made transparent and the general public is aware of what is happening with regard to the environmental regulatory measure that is challenged, then they can make submission by providing certain scientific and technical details with regard to the subject matter of the dispute. And that can only happen if transparency is adopted in investment arbitration. So in the next lecture, we will be looking at the participation of amicus curiae in investment arbitration and how that can strengthen environmental integration of environmental principles within the field of international investment law. So we'll discuss that in the next video. Thank you.